He finally made it. The digits on the screen reflect a reality he once thought was the finish line: $200,000 a year. He expected the air to taste different, the colors to be sharper. But as the 6th month rolls in, a cold, clinical anxiety settles in his chest. The designer leather of his new SUV feels like sandpaper. The view from the penthouse doesn't offer perspective. It only shows him what's higher. He is earning more than 95% of the population. Yet, when he looks at his bank balance, he feels the same suffocating scarcity he felt as a broke student. He isn't just running, he is sprinting on a track that has no end. Why does the human brain possess a reset button that deletes the joy of a 50% raise in less time than it takes to break in a new pair of shoes? The answer isn't in his bank account. It's buried in a biological glitch designed to keep him alive, but destined to keep him miserable. Our ancestors didn't have savings accounts. They had calories. In the Pleistocene, enough was a death sentence. If you stopped seeking, you stopped surviving. Evolution hardwired a mechanism called hedonic adaptation, a homeostatic regulator that forces our emotional state back to a baseline, regardless of external success. It's the same system that keeps your body temperature at 37 degrees. When you get a raise, your brain treats it like a temporary heat wave. It sweats out the excess joy until you're back to your internal normal. We are biological machines, optimized for the hunt, living in a world where the prey is now a digital deposit. If this is a survival mechanism, is it possible to reprogram the thermostat of our happiness? Science suggests that 50% of this baseline is genetic, but the other half, that's where the engineering begins. There is a specific mathematical tragedy to the $200,000 threshold. Studies show that for most, happiness scales linearly with income until the basic needs are met. But then, the curve flattens. We hit the positional goods trap. Suddenly, it's not about the car's engine, it's about the car's emblem. We stop buying utility and start buying relative standing. At $200,000, you're no longer comparing yourself to the person struggling to pay rent. You're comparing yourself to the person with a private jet. The gap doesn't close. It just migrates to a more expensive neighborhood. Why do we instinctively choose the one group of people who make us feel poor, even when we are objectively rich? The Joneses aren't just next door anymore. They are in your pocket, 24/7, curated by an algorithm designed to exploit your deepest insecurities. It starts with a better roast of coffee, then a slightly more central apartment, a subscription you forget to cancel. This is lifestyle creep, the silent killer of the gap. As income rises, luxuries are reclassified as necessities by the brain's prefrontal cortex. Within months, the $15,000 monthly overhead feels like the bare minimum for survival. You are now a high-performance athlete who needs more fuel just to stay at the starting line. You are high earner, not rich yet. The HENRY dilemma. You are earning a fortune, but you are a slave to the maintenance of your own image. What if the secret to wealth isn't earning more, but making the creep physically impossible? There is a way to build a wall between your income and your expenses that even your own brain cannot scale. To break the treadmill, we must look to the ancient past. The Stoics practiced premortatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Instead of imagining the next purchase, they spent time vividly imagining the loss of everything they already had. They understood that the fastest way to resensitize the brain to pleasure is to simulate scarcity. By visualizing the SUV broken down, the penthouse gone, and the $200,000 salary vanished, they reset the hedonic baseline. They didn't find happiness in the new, they rediscovered it in the existing. Can a 10-minute mental exercise actually change the neurochemistry of your spending habits? The data says yes, but visualization is only the psychological preparation. The real war is won with automation. Willpower is a finite resource, and your brain is an expert at negotiating with it. To save the gap, you must remove yourself from the equation. This is the pay yourself first architecture. You don't save what is left after spending. You spend what is left after saving. By automating transfers to an untouchable brokerage account, the millisecond the paycheck hits, you trick the biological reset button. Your brain only sees the remaining balance. It adapts to the artificial scarcity just as quickly as it adapted to the abundance. You are now wealthy in the dark while appearing modest in the light. What is the golden ratio of automation that ensures you never feel the sting of saving? The 50-30-20 rule is a start, but for the $200,000 earner, it's a trap. We need a more aggressive blueprint. The treadmill is fueled by wanting, but it is destroyed by liking. Neuroscience distinguishes between these two systems. Dopamine drives the wanting, the thrill of the purchase. But liking, the actual enjoyment, is mediated by the brain's opioid system. Most high earners are expert wanters, but pathetic likers. They buy the 50-year-old scotch, but drink it while checking emails. To escape the treadmill, you must master the art of savoring. You must slow down the sensory experience until the brain is forced to register the reward. How can deliberate consumption save you tens of thousands of dollars a year? When you learn to savor, the frequency of your purchases drops, but the intensity of your happiness skyrockets. Here is the technical roadmap to financial immunity. First, the 1% increment. Every time you get a raise, you only allow your lifestyle to creep by 1%. The rest vanishes into the gap. Second, the wait and verify period. No purchase over $500 can be made until 30 days have passed, enough time for the hedonic spike to settle. Third, eudaimonic investment. You stop buying objects that trigger adaptation and start buying experiences and autonomy. Objects stay the same while you get used to them. Experiences grow in your memory. Autonomy, the power to say no, is the only luxury that never loses its luster. What happens when the gap between your income and your lifestyle becomes a canyon? That canyon is where your freedom lives. But there is one final mistake that 99% of people make even after they start saving. The mistake is believing there is a finish line. The treadmill is a part of you. You cannot destroy it. You can only master the speed at which it moves. Wealth isn't the number on the screen. It's the distance between your desires and your needs. At $200,000, you have the rare opportunity to build a fortress of peace. Not by buying a bigger fortress, but by realizing that the greatest status symbol of the 21st century is a mind that doesn't need to be impressed. You have the tools. You have the engineering. Now, step off. Money isn't just something you earn. It's something you understand. Most people chase income but never decode the system controlling it. If you're ready to think differently, move differently, and build real power, subscribe. Because here, we don't follow money. We learn how to control it. Money Future, Decode Money, Master the Mind.